Okay, this is a second video I'm making of how to put the Ford Model A, what's called the crank hole cover, onto the radiator shell. This is a 30-31 style radiator shell, and there's a hole right here that you can put your hand crank in when it's on the car. And here's the official part I got. It's called crank hole cover, and it came with a rivet, which I promptly destroyed. Nice shiny crank hole cover, which is what we're going to put on, and it comes with a tiny little washer over here. I'll get to that in a second. So let me tell you what I did that did not work out so I can save you all a lot of time. This rivet that comes with the packet, it's just not either. I'm not good at this, but it's not long enough to really get it from both sides, and ideally you want to push down on the rivet on one end while you're holding it secure on the other end. It'll just kind of flatten or mushroom into place instead of being like a screw, like a nut and bolt, sorry. But let me tell you why that's hard to do. So first of all, if you look at your crank hole cover, if you look at the top, you can see it's not even, right? There's this bump here, and that's the hole in the top there where the rivet's supposed to go through. It's very hard to get a flat surface here and also underneath the radiator shell at the same time. So I had tried, let me tell you what I start with first. This is a clamp, a 2-inch clamp, and I tried with the rivet and the shell to put that on there with the rivet, and then you would put the clamp. Actually, I had it this way. So I had the arm on the hole cover side and this. Anyway, I had it like this, and I tried really hard to do it like that, and it didn't work. Then I got some wood, and I put some. Oh, and by the way, real quick, another lesson I learned through all this: when you're working on your radiator shell, especially if it's painted, it can scratch very easy. And previously, as I was putting the lining in, so if you look under here, that where's my lining? Oh, on the side. So the liner came out really well. It protects the hood from getting scratched from the radiator shell when you put it on. And I used the clamp for that. So in a previous video, if I get that posted, this method worked really well to flatten these rivets. And I thought that same method could be used for this hole cover, this radiator crank hole cover, but it couldn't. And I had this on cardboard, and it was clean cardboard, but it's scratched basically. So you want to use basically clean, dry cloths, like a towel or something soft, to keep it from scratching. So not the end of the world, but I learned that lesson the hard way. Then when the C-clamp didn't work, I tried a punch. So I put some, let me back up here a bit. I put some wood, evened it up. I had some other pieces to even it up because you don't want to. This is fragile. I'm sure you know, by the way, it's it's fragile. It flexes. It can easily crack and break. So I had this wood under here, and with a hammer, I was trying to use a punch and support the back end to flatten that rivet out. That didn't. It failed miserably, right? So as I was scrounging around my garage, because I don't throw anything out, that's where I stumbled onto some tiny screws I had that worked out well. So I don't know the size of these little machine screws, but basically what you want to do is, they're tiny. So just you go to a hardware store and just whatever fits in that hole right there. So for example, this one right here, the tiny one, it fits right there. And I could put a nut on the back and put some Loctite there, and it'll hold that, and no one, it is a Phillips screw, so, they didn't have Phillips head screws in 1930, but it's close enough, and it's not a judging car standards. It's not going to be in shows. I'm going to drive it. And I had another machine screw in my vast collection of random stuff in the garage, and you can see, like this one, for example, it doesn't quite fit. So just go down to the hardware store, just rummage through your own garage parts, and just, you know, I got lucky. I just happened to have some small threaded machine screws that worked. I had the nuts, a nut that goes with it, and I even had tiny little washers. So here's what I did, and I can put this together right now. It's so simple. Like this method, it'll take you like less than a minute. So let's go over here, and let me show you what I'm going to do. And you won't. I got a little bit of damage here. I mean, I guess over time, as this hole moves back and forth, it'll rub against your radiator a bit. So over time, it would scratch anyway. But you don't want to scratch your radiator shell any more than you have to. And this whole method, I was trying to put this rivet in, just caused a little more damage than I liked. So let me show you how I can do this easily. So I'm gonna put my crank hole cover. I'm gonna put the machine screw first. It comes a little washer in that kit, so you just put the little washer on there. And that'll give it a little bit of space so it doesn't maybe rub as much against the radiator. I could put I could find a little tiny washer, maybe put 2 there if I want some space. I don't want to rattle when I get on the road. And then what I'm going to do is put this washer on the other side, the back side of the radiator shell. So now if I put this here, and parts are tiny, so watch out. All right, second try. Okay, so that's the front. And then I'm going to put this on the back. Now, I need to be able to see to do this, so what I'm going to do is flip this, and again, nice soft cloth on the ground so you don't scratch, and put that there. So I'm holding the back of the bolt, the head of it with my finger. Here's my washer. Here's my tiny little nut. And again, you'll probably have to, if you're not lucky enough to have these on hand in your garage, you can just go to a hardware store. You may have to buy, I'm sure they don't sell them individually. You probably have to buy like a pack of them, but I'm sure it's not more than a few dollars. And you can see, is that shown up in the video? You can see, let me zoom in. No, can I zoom in? Is that focused? It's hard to tell. You can see that I just finger tighten that down, and then I'll put some Loctite on there, so basically some adhesive on the back so it doesn't come loose. And then from the front, again, being careful. It moves fine. I mean, it slightly rubs, but not too bad. You know, again, it's a Phillips head on the front. Again, if you're not looking, most people walking by won't even notice that unless you're a hardcore Model A person. But that worked really well for me. You can see that took like maybe a minute. And this is going to be much easier than trying to use that rivet that comes with the package. So anyway, good luck on your Model A ventures. I hope this helped you out.